So frames for learning help us develop as reflective practitioners. They're part of the learning process that we use to develop as professionals. And one way to promote reflective practice through a frame for learning is with inductive action planning. Um, what's true to say is, as a teacher, you'll be learning every single day during your work. And knowing what you have learned or what you want to learn is actually part of the action planning process. The experience that you're having helps you make the decision about what needs to be learned and what you will do to activate that learning. And this is quite an inductive process. It's developed from experience rather than anything else. So inductive action planning essentially involves certain steps. The first thing is to identify something to achieve, an objective, a target that needs to be worked towards. It could be anything from routines that you have in class through to how you work with educational technology in a classroom. And then the inductive action plan needs to have a plan for meeting that target. What sort of things will you do in order to move towards the achievement of that target? It could be things like training, or it could be independent study. It could be observing other teachers. It could be a whole range of different things. And of course, part of an inductive action plan, as with any action plan, would be how will you evaluate and measure the success of achievement of that particular target. Simply because there's no point having a target unless at some point we can say we have achieved that target. And there of course needs to be a process then of reflection as part of action planning, which helps you identify future targets that you can work on. So inductive action planning for the reflective practitioner is very much about looking at opportunities, identifying opportunities and seeing how we can work with those to develop our practice. Inductive action planning is then a process that helps you gather information, direct your activity, and then monitor your progress in terms of your development. And it's a very valuable process because it can help you build a professional profile for yourself. If you keep a log of the action plans, then it shows that you are continually involved with professional development. And the thing about inductive action planning, it's also quite a precise thing to do. You can see on paper the targets, the actions and the outcomes that you're engaging with. It's also identifying how you're interacting with people in the school and how people are being used as a support mechanism for you as a reflective practitioner. So an important aspect of inductive action planning, of course, is first of all identifying the priority areas that you need to work on. This is the foundation work for identifying specific targets that you can work on. And then the next step is to identify how you will actually work towards achieving a particular target. What will you do? How will you do it? And of course, the date by which you will actually achieve that target. And we must remember that as teachers, we're working within a community of professionals, and therefore part of inductive action planning is to identify those people who can actually support us in terms of achieving a particular target. And certain support mechanisms we can include within the action planning as part of developing our professional role. And a very significant part of the inductive action planning process is identify the measures that we will bring to looking at the achievement of the target. What will be the exact success criteria? How will we know that we have successfully achieved this particular target that we've set for ourselves? And this is really very much then about how we demonstrate to others that the action planning process has been successful and that we have actually achieved the target. And what we're doing then in this sense is looking for examples that we can show people, that we can show out, we can reflect on ourselves that demonstrate that we've achieved the target. For example, it could be examples of lesson plans, or it could even be videoing ourselves teaching using a different approach than we've been using before. And the interesting thing for the reflective practitioner then is that in the inductive action planning process is very much responsive to your needs and your interests as a teacher rather than directing your needs and interests. And as such then, the inductive action plan is directed by you rather than anyone else.